In the mountains of Colorado, there is a quiet town where you can bring your family to get away from the stresses of the big city. This place is called South Park. This is where you, the new kid, have been brought by your parents. For unknown to the townspeople of South Park, you have a special gift that is being hidden away. It is in this town we learn of a relic of immeasurable power, the Stick of Truth. It is foretold that whoever is in possession of this relic can control all of existence. There are two factions currently fighting for the stick. The Kingdom of Cooper Keep, led by the all-powerful Wizard King Cartman, and the Kingdom of the Elves, led by King Kyle, the all-powerful elf. You become entangled in this war as you will have to pick a side in order to save all of reality from the forces of evil and prevent the Stick of Truth from falling into the wrong hands.
And no matter what happens, never fart on anyone's balls.
Welcome to episode 4 of Retrotopia. My name is Brian, and with me is Sam, and that intro you just heard was a recording from our good friend Alan Ptaszek, also known as Captain Alcatraz, on our Discord, which you can find access to in the description of this podcast. You can hear more of his beautiful British voice on YouTube if you search Follow My Voice. So on this show, as you already know, we are bringing you South Park: The Stick of Truth. But I've been talking enough, and Sam is itching to get a word out, so I'm going to set up Sam with a question. How good is South Park the series?
Brian, it is the very best.
It is fantastic.
It is got to be the most consistently good show over the course of its, what is it now? Almost
23 seasons, I think. Or no, they just released 25 on Paramount Plus up here.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell because it's, I don't know if COVID messed some of it up, but there's some short seasons in there and some specials in there. And
apparently it's a big thing with the streaming rights. So the specials and the short seasons are a way to get around who can actually stream it or not.
Yeah, it's weird. Down here in the States, we have most of, like, the bulk of it is on HBO still, I think. And then, some of the newer stuff they've got out on Paramount. So
yeah, and I think up in Canada, it's half Crave TV, half Paramount Plus.
Yeah, and I've just watched the Panderverse, the new special. So I guess
that was fantastic.
It was so good.
Holy crap!
This is nice and current. This episode.
Yeah. This was a game we both immediately jumped to play at as soon as we discussed it. So I'm really excited, and it's a nice short RPG. That's what I like about it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite episode of the show?
A favorite episode of Jesus? Boiling it down to one. That's kind of hard. I mean, you got the World of Warcraft episode. That was so well done.
This actually kind of, we'll talk about the episodes that lead into the game itself, but that almost is kind of on par with that kind of tie-in that just
the video game reference. Like they worked with Blizzard on that episode to make, the in-game characters actually move as the South Park people wanted. So it was kind of a nice collaboration, which led into, of course, them, making, I think, their second or third video game, which would be the Stick of Truth.
Right. Yeah, it's magnificent show, magnificent game. I'd say my favorite, if I have to pick, I don't know. I'm really partial to that Casa Bonita episode.
Oh, that's such a good episode.
Anytime Butters is involved and is kind of taken advantage of by Cartman, I love it.
Oh, like Osimo?
Yeah, Osimo was another good one.
Oh man, like we could probably go on about this all night.
He's from Japan.
Yeah, if you're not a South Park fan, you're wrong. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. But should we get into the game?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so after a little bit of music, Sam's going to come back with a little overview of South Park: The Stick of Truth.
South Park: The Stick of Truth is a role-playing video game developed by Obsidian Entertainment in collaboration with South Park Digital Studios. Released in March of 2014, the game is set in the fictional Colorado town of South Park and follows the player-created character, the New Kid, as they join the boys of South Park in a live-action role-playing game based on a fantasy war for control of a magical artifact known as the Stick of Truth. Players can choose from various character classes and team up with iconic South Park characters such as Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny. The game captures the irreverent humor and satirical style of the animated TV show, with crude humor, social commentary, and numerous references to pop culture. The Stick of Truth received praise for its faithful recreation of the show's visual style, engaging narrative, and turn-based combat system. It offers fans an interactive and immersive experience with the satirical world of South Park.
All right, so before we get into the game, we were talking about a couple of episodes that led into the game. Back in 2013, in season 17 of the TV show, they had 3 episodes which eventually led into the setup of the Stick of Truth. That was episodes 7, 8, and 9, respectively, called Black Friday, A Song of Ass and Fire, and Titties and Dragons. The story set up in these episodes really only introduces the main characters as their personas used in the game. The parody of Game of Thrones is used where Randy takes on the role of a mall security guard, which represents the wall, and it's in order for him to get into the mall first on Black Friday. This, however, changes when the head security guard is killed by the people who line up early. Randy takes over his job as leader and peels the scar off his eyes, placing it on his own. The boys, however, have a different mission. Black Friday offers a ridiculous deal on the first few who purchase one of the new consoles. That'd be the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. But they end up getting into an argument over which console they want to buy, and they split into 2 factions, the Elves and the Wizard King of Koopa Keep. So throughout this, they end up getting the head of Sony and the head of Microsoft involved, and they eventually lead up to something called the Red Robin Wedding, where they all plan to betray each other, then be the first in the mall to get the ridiculous deal on the console. So after the hilarity ensues and the jokes settle, the boys don't get their consoles and decide instead of playing video games, they'll instead continue with their medieval game. And this leads up to the Stick of Truth, one shameless plug at the end of the show later, and we now celebrate as one of the best games of 2010s. So, first off, how good are the graphics in this game compared to the show, Sam?
They're amazing. It's like seamless playing. It's like you're playing an episode of the game. It's so immersive and just beautiful looking. It's incredible. I can't say enough about how great it looks.
Oh yeah, spot on. Like all the characters, like it's obviously not like super high def graphics for the show to begin with. I mean, they started out with construction paper. Yeah. But it translates really well into the video game universe.
But you know what I love about it is that, yeah, it did start in those first couple seasons where they were actually using construction paper. You can see it, but they've maintained as they've moved into computer animation, like some of the textures, which I really like. You can kind of see like, you know, different almost construction papery textures, and that translates into the game too. You can see that in the game as well. Yeah,
and they didn't really break from the style except for where needed to, you know, create the atmosphere, the joke in the show or the video game.
Right.
But when you start the game, you are the new kid, and that's what you mentioned. And you just moved into South Park. So the first thing you'd end up doing is going to Koopa Keep, where Cartman is. And that's where you create your character. And you get 4 choices of characters. You get the fighter, who has a strong attack but weak magic. The mage, who has a weak attack but strong magic. The thief, who has a mid attack but uses status effects mostly as their means of attacking. And the Jew, who's a monk paladin class created by Cartman and becomes stronger the closer to death they are. What did you pick, Sam?
The first time I ever played this game, I picked the thief, which was really fun. Had some fun mechanics to the combat. But this most recent playthrough, I took the mage and really enjoyed that as well.
How was that? Like,
one note on your name, which is funny, is you actually give your name when you start the game. You type it in, and they refuse to call you it. They just call you douchebag the entire time.
Like you enter it 1 or 2 times there, and then Cartman just goes, "I'm just going to call you douchebag," and then for the whole game, you're douchebag, sir douchebag, commander douchebag.
Yeah, I think you said douchebag. Is that correct? And that's just a way because it's fully voice acted, which is amazing. But it's like obviously you couldn't insert your name and then have them voice act it. So they had to call you something. So
Yeah,
this
and
was
that
a
was
really
a
clever
great
way
way
to
to
get
do
around
it.
that.
But yeah, I went with the thief this time, and the first time I played as the Jew because I found it too funny not to.
Yeah.
And no, I like the thief. It was good, like kind of halfway between a fighter and a mage. So you have some attacks and you have some magic, but nothing really stands out. Uh, I just kind of enjoyed the backstabbing, and then the status effects were actually really effective in this game.
Yeah, the thief had that where if you got the perfect attack, I think you could make your opponents bleed a lot, which would
Yeah, and it was weapon dependent.
yeah.
Like one of his special attacks, you sneak up behind, you stab him, and you'll induce bleeding, which kind of kills him.
Yeah.
Later in the game, you can put ruins on your weapons, and I had ice and fire, which would slow them down and light them on fire, which became a super effective way to kill people fast.
Yeah, I definitely did the same. That ice was really, really effective.
Yeah, especially once it started reacting, you're getting like 2-3 hits in a row.
Yep.
But yeah, you can't change class throughout the game, so that's not something that really ruins the game. Like you just pick a class and you play it, but whatever class you play as doesn't change the game in any way, shape, or form. So
No, aside from the abilities that you kind of acquire, I guess.
Which is fine. I mean, this was never meant to be Skyrim, but
No.
I like it more than Skyrim, which is saying a lot. But throughout the game, you get 6 partner characters at different various points, starting with Paladin Butters, and he is one of your favorite characters. So why don't you explain Paladin Butters to us?
Yeah, I do like Paladin Butters. He's kind of your starter partner character, and he's got a really strong hammer attack, and he's got his healing power is pretty funny. Every other turn. Yeah, here you go, buddy. He is just the best, and he's got another like kind of innate ability called gosh, it was like victim complex or something, where he draws most of the hits, so he's kind of a tank.
Oh, I never actually noticed that.
Yeah, and then another funny part about Butters is like as you're exploring the map, every time you pass something, he just talks about like a different time he got like beat up or bullied somewhere.
Yeah, I noticed that. It was good. And it's right from the show too. Like each time he talks about it, you could reference it to an episode if you're that good.
Yeah.
But what I liked about him was his specials there, like the one where he just throws a hammer at somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, darn. And then the second one where he comes out is like Professor Chaos.
Oh,
but they turn him into the one from the anime episode.
Yeah.
Man, that was good. And he's a good starter too, because the healing thing really comes in handy at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. One thing you do have to watch out for that can be kind of frustrating though, since he takes all the hits, and his big hammer swing attack enrages the opponent, which is a status effect that makes them focus all their attacks on one character. So basically like that plus his innate victim ability really makes him a target for almost every attack, which makes him a good partner character to start with because he draws a lot of the fire away from you.
Yeah, and it's a great way to get through the early parts of the game where you're still a little bit low of a level. That's actually the only hard part I found of the game is at the beginning when I was like level 1, bump into like level 4, elves, and that would just kind of ruin my day.
Yeah, you can kind of get your butt kicked a little bit. Though I found on the overworld, if you got up to an enemy and smacked them with whatever button on the overworld screen that you can strike things with, you would get the initiative. And if they came up and hit you, then they would get the initiative. So I always tried to make sure that
was a way I tried to start every battle.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Butters. And next you get Bard Jimmy. He's the second character you get. And Jimmy's got to be one of the funniest characters on this show.
Yeah.
And when you first find him, you have a quest where you actually have to fight Jimmy. So you find him in the basement of a place, and we'll get to it in a little bit later. And he starts talking to you, and he starts stuttering.
Yep.
And he doesn't stop stuttering until you actually skip. It'll prompt you to skip the scene because he stutters forever if you don't.
Yeah, you have to hold B to skip. It flashes up on the screen for you. I
Yeah.
actually found this time around, I just was like, let's see how far this goes. And it goes on for a good minute or two where he gets stuck in the stuttering loop, but he does eventually advance himself.
Oh,
It just
does he?
takes a really, really long time.
Jeez. Yeah, that's just one of the best jokes of the game right there. And he stutters, like he does his stuttering thing a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, you fight him in the basement, and later on, not too much later on in the game, but a little bit later, he becomes your second ally. I never used him personally because I didn't find any use for him over Butters, but he was there for entertainment, anyways.
Yeah, his attacks are pretty weak, but some of his bard powers can be kind of cool. Like there was one where he sings his song and you have to like mash A when he starts stuttering in the song, and the lyrics of the song are pretty damn funny. So
Oh,
that's
I know.
entertaining. He's an entertaining character.
Oh yeah, he's definitely worth it. So, first character you meet, and one of the last four characters you get, which you get all in bulk, is the Wizard King Cartman. He is a mage supreme.
Yep.
But again, he's another character I just didn't use because one character, and when I get to him, I'm just going to explain it. But basically, I didn't find any real use for Cartman unless I was like desperately in need of a second character to replace the guy I used all the time.
Yeah, I don't think I used Cartman too much on this playthrough. Um, I think I did on when I very first played it a couple years ago, but I don't remember too much of what Cartman does. But he's a wizard, so he's got
Yeah,
magic
he's got.
powers just like the mage does.
I think he has like two fire spells and one lightning spell or something like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, it wasn't anything super that changed the game. So he just kind of sat in the background. But throughout the game, he is friggin' hilarious as well. He's classic Cartman.
yep.
Like whenever he joins you on a fight there before he becomes your companion there, he'll always be like, "Sir Douchebag, go fight that battle. I'll be over here hiding."
Yeah, Cartman's always in classic Cartman form, away from the action, and manipulating so that everyone else is, in the thick of it, and he's just kind of not.
Classic Cartman. And Cartman's polar opposite is next. That would be the king of the elves, Kyle. And he is my go-to character. My number one partner I have. As soon as I get him, the game goes on to easy mode.
Yeah, Kyle's awesome. He's pretty overpowered in my
Yeah,
opinion.
you use his arrow attack there, which has a quick time event where you have to push 3 random buttons in sequence, which eventually just you figure out a pattern of how they're going to happen.
Yeah.
But the arrow attack hits for like 3 or 4 attacks, and they're high damage attacks, so it just wipes out every enemy.
He also so I did like that one. And actually, even if you miss the quick time event, the arrow still does a pretty good amount of damage.
Yeah,
That's
except
kind
for
of
you only get
fun.
like 2 hits.
Right. And he also has he can kick the baby, which is great. A great nod to like even the first
Yeah.
season he's been kicking his brother. So
Don't kick the baby.
don't kick the goddamn baby. And
uh,
actually his base weapon, which is a golf ball and club, is pretty good. Does a
yeah,
pretty good
that's
amount of
that's
damage.
actually true as well. It hits for a good amount of damage.
He's just solid all around.
Absolutely. And his best friend, the Warrior Stan, is a good go-to if Kyle happens to be knocked out or if you just can't use Kyle for any given reason.
Yeah, I think Stan might actually have been, along with Jimmy, the one that I used the least. I didn't really find anything that Stan did to be great, although his power where he calls his dog in is pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing I did like about Stan was he was just a bruiser. He just walks in and just hits people for damage, and that's why I used him when Kyle was down.
Yeah.
Like over Butters would be my third, I guess, if he took all 6 you have here. But yeah, I was actually a big fan of Stan. So
Yeah, I'd say I'd probably my main partners were Kyle and Butters.
yeah. Butters is a good choice, but I just felt like I used him too much since I got him at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, true. I probably should have mixed it up more, so I had more to talk
Yeah,
about.
seriously, I need to try some stuff out, dude.
What do you do? Yeah, you know what? I find what I like and I stick with it.
Exactly. And our final character is the beautiful and gorgeous Princess Kenny.
This is the Princess Kenny's the best. The best part of those 3 episodes too, that we were talking about before. Just so funny, and there's they don't utilize it enough, I don't think, where you have on the overworld powers that your buddies can help you out. So like if someone's hurt, you can send Butters over to rub their back or whatever. Princess Kenny's is like you can distract enemies on the screen when she flashes her boobies.
Yeah, which is both turns a game to mature only and doesn't because Kenny's a dude.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, there's all kinds of like major boobage, Princess Kenny vibes. Like Kenny's secretly a little girl, which is really funny.
Oh yeah, and just so great that Kenny, out of all the characters he could have been, just wanted to be a princess.
Yeah.
And then you have the scenes where he has the big Japanese eyes and everything like
Yes.
that, and all the unicorns and sparkles all over the place.
Yeah, Kawaii Kenny. That was the best part. That was I laughed so hard at that when I watched those episodes leading into this. That was my favorite part by
Oh
far.
yeah,
even.
that Japan part where he jumps out the window and just like crashes down on the ground and stands up and he's all perfect again.
Yeah.
Princess Kenny.
Yeah.
Oh god, so good. All right, so we kind of got into it with our favorite combination of characters, but like I said, you start with Butters, so I kind of stuck with him up until I got the last 4, and then I went with Kyle, then Stan, then Butters were my basically 3 main ones. You said I forget because it was almost a minute ago.
Oh yeah, it was pretty much Kyle and Butters. And I always, I always forgot about it, but you can swap. You have one buddy in each battle. You can swap them out, but it kind of burns their turn. So I tried not to do that very much, and that kind of was another factor in locking me into only using one character. So it's not like if you've played Final Fantasy X, where they kind of let you freely swap characters whenever you want without basically taking a turn to do it. This swap burns a turn, which I don't know. I didn't really think that was necessary. It's kind of like just a goofy game. So I didn't think penalizing you for changing characters was a good idea because I underutilized.
I noticed it burned a turn, but like I said, I had the combination of fire and ice on my weapons, so it would slow the enemies down. And when I burned the turn, it would just go back to douchebag again, and it would just start to turn over. So I never really noticed it.
Oh, nice. That's smart.
Yeah, what can I say? I am a master of South Park RPG offs. All right, so speaking of South Park RPG and any RPG, there's obviously magic in this game.
Yep.
And magic is in the form of farts. Now, what can I say? But farts are pure South Park. And what is the saying that they tell you?
Never fart on a man's balls.
Which is great advice. So the first fart you're going to get is called the dragon shout, and it's just a straight up fart.
Yep.
And you learn that from Cartman at Koopa Keep.
And this kind of makes it almost like this term gets probably thrown about too much, but kind of like a Metroidvania where like when you learn some of these farts, it opens up areas of the map. So the dragon shout, there's some like bunches of rats in certain places that are blocking parts of the map early in the game. You can dragon shout, fart them away basically.
Yeah, I didn't learn about that until near the end of the game.
Oh, so yeah, that's what the dragon shout can do outside of battle, but otherwise you can just basically fart. And I believe they also gross out your opponent.
Yeah. And outside of that, there wasn't much use of it. And then you come back and you get the second one, which is more useful, which is Cup of Spell.
I love that one.
Yeah, Cup of Spell there, you basically fart in your hand and throw it at a target.
Yep. And that was good for on the overworld, there'd be open flame sometimes, and you could throw a fart at the flame and basically make an explosion. And sometimes it would open new paths, or it would kill some of the enemies in the overworld and make some of the ensuing battles a little bit easier because some of those enemies would die.
This was probably the most useful spell of all of them because there was a lot of places you could get through just using the cup of spell and throwing it at a flame. But a couple of times I got caught, standing there like a moron because the flame source was behind, like in a lantern behind glass.
Oh yeah.
If you don't break it first with an arrow, it won't actually light. So I'm sitting there farting at nothing. And of course, every time you miss the fart there, your partner there gives a little laugh about squeaking one out.
Yeah, like check your pants.
But speaking of squeaking, Randy Marsh teaches you in the bathroom of the community center the sneaky squeaker, and this one is to distract distract people, move them away from an area.
Yeah, it's like the fart equivalent to throwing your voice.
Yeah, pretty much. You fart over in a direction, and the person you try to distract will move over to figure out what the noise was, and then after a few seconds, they'll walk back. Useful in a couple of places, not overly useful in a lot.
Yeah, not too much, but like that scene where it's basically like a stealth. It's like Metal Gear Solid with farts, I guess.
Yeah, basically. But the final one you get from Terrence and Philip up in good old Canada, that is the Nagasaki. And that actually was my favorite of all of them just because of the name, but this one gives you the ability to blow up walls that are glowing green in the cracks.
Yeah, you find the resonant frequency of whatever is cracked with your fart, and then you just blast it.
Yeah, fuck. It was just, those are your 4 spells, but they were just a great way to open up the game. And it's just the dumb humor you love from South Park.
What did you play this on? Did you play it on PS5 or 4 or Xbox? Or?
Well, yeah, I got the copy on PlayStation. I think I got it on PlayStation 4. Back when the second game came out, I got the first game free again.
Oh, that's right. Because I played it on my Switch, mostly handheld this time, and the I don't know about the vibration on the PlayStation version, but the vibration on the Switch was just absolutely off the charts when the Nagasaki. I didn't know that my Switch could rumble that hard.
Probably could watch the battery gauge go down.
Well, yeah, and actually it would like freak my dogs out. Each time I would do a Nagasaki, be like, meh.
I think it was the same, but I'm holding a controller versus the entire system.
Yeah, right? It's gonna like all the little bolts are gonna get shaken out. It's gonna fall apart in my hands.
My sticks are out of alignment already.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the magic. Do you have anything to say up to this point? Because we're going to get into the actual game itself and all the different plots of the 4 days.
No, let's get to it. This is I'm looking forward to talking about these because this is all really funny stuff.
All right, so as we said, when you start, you come out of your house that you just moved into. You search around a little bit and you find Koopa Keep, where the Wizard King Cartman gives you the name Douchebag. You pick your class, and then you start out and you get 3 missions. You're basically finding some of the Wizard's Knights, or whatever you want to call them. And the first mission is get Tweak. It's called the Hot Coffee mission, and it was, I believe, if I remember correctly, I read it was a reference to the hot coffee hack on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Oh, wow.
It was named that on purpose.
Oh, that's funny.
But if you remember early in the arrival of Tweak, it wasn't really early in the show. Tweak is the kid who's over caffeinated because his parents own a coffee shop.
Right.
And then you have to do so in order to get him out of work, you have to go down and get a package, which is at Kenny's house. So you head down there, and when you get into the back of Kenny's house, or you talk to Kenny's mom, because Kenny's not there, he's at Koopa Keep. You go into the back renter's place, and it's a meth lab.
Yep.
And you have a battle. You pick up the package of quote-unquote coffee, bring it back, and you deliver it to Tweak's dad, and Tweak is allowed to join the fight, I guess.
Yeah, when people join you, they become your friend on, I don't think they call it Facebook, or maybe they do.
They call it Friend Book.
Friend Book, yeah. So it's like a Facebook stand-in. And in your menu, you have access to all of your... They're basically collectibles in the game, are all these characters.
Yeah, and Friend Book is actually... I guess I should have brought that up first, but Friend Book is actually an important part of the game because you have to try to make as friends with as many people as you can.
Yep. And it gives you perks. there's
Yeah, I didn't
different
notice that
thresholds.
till too late either.
Yeah, there's like little you scroll over in the upgrades section, and based on how many friends you have on Friendbook, you can select different power-ups for your character, which can be
Yeah,
really
I
neat.
honestly think I only learned about it on this playthrough. I think I missed it the last few times I played it.
Oh, damn.
It's
There's some
it's
good ones
never
in there.
explained. Like if you
Yeah,
don't bump over to the perk tab, you'll never notice it, and it doesn't really have a huge effect on the outcome.
right. Well, did you read the manual? Oh, wait.
No,
No.
did not. All right, so you got Tweak. Go down. The next one you got to find is Token, who's up in his mansion there, of course, and you try to get into his house, and the guard stops you and pepper sprays you.
Yep.
And if you read your messages at the time, Cartman will actually laugh at you for getting peppered sprayed. This one took me a while to figure out how to get past because I couldn't remember what I had to do. So
Yeah, there's a hint somewhere. But yeah, you have to go to Jimbo's to get the gas mask, but I think it's really that was a weird one because I think it's just like Jimbo's works kind of like an item shop where you can buy just your standard items and maybe a couple of unique pieces of armor. And one of them happens to be this gas mask. So it's not really like do this to get the gas mask and then come back. It's like you have to go to a place to buy it. It's weird. Yeah. I don't think I got stuck for very long, but it definitely took me a second.
well, a little later in the game, I realized there's an exclamation mark. If there's part of the mission you have to go to, you could hover over it and it'll tell you what mission it's for.
Yeah, I use that
But
a lot.
Jimbo, when you go there, you end up getting a second set of missions or tasks to do, and which is what probably threw me off. But one thing I do like is items like a gas mask or later on in the game, some goth equipment. They don't just give you like status boosts, they actually are used for their intention. So a gas mask being obviously to stop pepper spray,
Right.
which is kind of a neat touch I found.
Yeah. They're not always the best pieces of
No.
armor or equipment, but they are serviceable through, that certain part of the game where you need to be
Yeah, and it
wearing
was
it.
good enough until you got the next piece of equipment.
Right.
But you use that, you blocks the pepper spray, the guard gets freaked out, and you have a quick battle, and you go get Token, who later was actually renamed Tolkien because he was named after Lord of the Rings and not because he's the only black guy in South Park.
Right. Yeah.
If you watch the show.
Yes.
So the last mission you have to do on day one to get the last person is you got to get Craig released from school. He's in detention. So you have to infiltrate the school, and then you go in and you fight the ginger hall monitors through the thing. You get the keys and stuff like that, and Mr. Mackey is like taunting you the whole way.
Yes, I should mention Craig is in detention for flipping off his teacher, which is
Of course.
I love Craig.
You have no fuck attitude.
Yeah.
But I like this level. Like just very straightforward, and there was some challenges like couple of puzzles there I had to really think about, but nothing that held me up for too long.
Yeah, this is one where the buddy this is where I was thinking of the buddy system where you have to use your buddy power, and you really only have to do it in like 1 or 2 points in the game. This is one of them, but I did get stuck on it for a while.
Yeah. And once you get all the keys and stuff like that, you just go back and you save Craig and you fight the Alpha Ginger, we'll call him.
Right.
But it's pretty straightforward, and that gets you kind of into the game. So you got the 3 people, and then you go back and talk to Cartman again, and then he talks about, you have to go find the bard, which is Jimmy. So you head off to infiltrate the inn of the infiltrate the inn of the giggling donkey so that you can go defeat the bard. And this turns into a big battle between the elves and the wizard knights. I don't know what they're called. Cartman's people.
Well, it's the Koopa Keep. Oh no, the Cartman's group is called the KKK, and he's the Grand Wizard.
Oh,
it's
that's
like
right. Yeah,
something of Koopa Keep or something like that, but he makes it KKK.
Knights of the Koopa Keep.
Knights of the Koopa Keep, which is
KKK, and then he's the Grand
awful,
Wizard.
but...
I missed that he was the Grand Wizard. Fuck.
Yeah.
Feel kind of dumb on that one.
No, it's it's funny, but also kind of not. But it's South Park,
It's
so
funny because they're trying to make it so serious, but
yeah,
it's just like a dig at those jackasses.
yeah, it is. Um, so, but one of the funniest parts about this bard fight when you go into it's Jimmy's house, and they basically made big old, couch cushion fort, um, tavern for the giggling donkey, and then I think you have to go either down into the basement or try to work your way upstairs through the attic or something like that. But like in the process of doing this, you basically destroy his entire house.
Yeah, blow out the front door.
Yeah, you blow up the front door. I think you have to like when you go up through the attic, I think you have to destroy something and come down through his ceiling because his door is locked, and it's just like
Oh yeah, you're absolutely destroying his house there.
yeah,
But
because
this
his
is where
parents
you
are
get
away.
yeah, this is where you get the first taste of Jimmy and his stuttering. And
Yes,
in the battle, you're fighting. Jimmy's off to the side. You're not actually fighting him, but he's buffing up the soldiers he sends out to fight you.
yes,
So
and then he's also using his different bard powers to either um, make you. I don't know if he makes you grossed out, but he definitely he sings a song with the brown noise, and it
oh yeah.
increases your mana that you use to fart, basically to the point where you shit your pants.
Yeah. And then you
So
lose all that mana.
he did make me shit my pants, and so I was like
Yeah, he
standing in a
did
little
me
puddle
too
of
before
brown.
I realized you just have to like spam the fart attack there just to get it down.
Yes, yeah, you have to burn that off, or you poop your
Yeah.
pants.
Or you lose all your mana.
Yes.
Uh, so after all's said and done, you go back home to end the night there and you head off to bed and then you get abducted by the aliens from episode 1.
Yes.
And then the first thing you have to do is clench your anus while you get butt probed.
Yeah. And this is where they kind of a theme throughout the whole game is that you have like this incredible sphincter that you can control to do all these different farts and, control things with your ass.
Yeah, because at this point you haven't got the dragon show yet, or
Right.
have you?
I think you might have the dragon shout, but not anything else, I don't think.
Yeah, but it doesn't come into play one way or another on the alien ship because you get the probe stuck into your anus, and that's one of your four other abilities. So you got bow and arrow to shoot things, shoot targets, and you get the buddy ability, and then you get this one, which lets you teleport on these alien devices, which helps you get around the ship.
Yeah, it helps you get around the ship, and they're also hidden like all throughout the map and in
Yeah.
some of the other levels. That's kind of another little like Metroidvania type. It opens up access to more stuff.
Yeah, and it comes important in the game as part of the puzzles to get through some of the later levels as well. So
Right.
it's never not used. It's a really fun thing to do because you can find a lot of hidden stuff too if you pay attention to where you can actually teleport to.
Yep.
So after you teleport around the ship, actually before you teleport around the ship, the first person you run into is going to be one of your colleagues throughout the game that's going to help you out in various stages of the game, but never be your actual direct ally, and that would be Randy Marsh. And what's
Yeah.
happening to Randy?
Yeah, Randy, you have to basically stop Randy from getting his ass probed, which sometimes I got wrong on purpose, so that because him getting probed in the ass is so funny.
Oh, friggin' hilarious! Classic Randy too. Like my
Yeah,
favorite character of the entire series is Randy Marsh, just because he is so random throughout the entire series. There,
yeah, and there's one. It's kind of like you use the four buttons on your right side of your controller, like the game Simon. You ever played Simon? It sounds like
yeah, Simon
Simon too.
Says, yeah,
Um, and there's ones that are so complex that you're going to get them wrong anyway, so that he gets probed.
yeah,
There-
because you're going through the patterns there, and you're getting it. All of a sudden, the last one is like 15 buttons flashing at you in under 5 seconds.
Yeah, and some of them are like simultaneously being pushed in ways that you wouldn't be able to do.
And I think I believe it's random as well, so that you can't just look up on the internet how to do it,
Yes.
which is great because can you imagine getting that one though? Like, what type of memory would you have to have?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I got like the first couple, and then it was like a mess, and Randy got probed.
Yeah, which is fine because it's
Yeah.
friggin' hilarious. So after you save Randy, you get into a fight with the aliens, and the ship crashes back in the South Park. But of course, it was all a dream. So you wake up the next day and you go back to Koopa Keep, and Cartman has another task for you, which is to recruit the goth kids. So we're now on day 2. My favorite thing about the goth kids is go get yourself goth clothes to look like us because we don't like conformists.
Right. Yeah, that's always their ironic shtick is like you're such a conformist, and then they're all wearing black and doing
They
the
want
same
everybody
thing.
to dress like them. And
But you have to get like basically the goth kit, which is the clothes. So you get black gloves, black clothes, and a black beanie.
yeah, and they're all
And
called goth whatever.
yeah, that's like specific armor type. And then you have to go to Tweak Brothers and get the extra dark roast. You have to go somewhere and get a pack of cigarettes.
You got to get the cigarettes from the kids between Jimbo's and the bar.
Yes, yeah. There's like 6th graders, and you got to get cigarettes from them. You
Yeah.
had to beat them up for cigarettes, I think. And then, gosh, is there one more thing? Is there like a
No, that was it. And after you do that, they say you're not there yet, and then you have to go to the community center where the PTA meeting's going on to get a picture of yourself holding a sign in front of the council.
yeah? It says "fuck the conformists."
Yeah, and well, when you go in there, you learn that the alien ship that landed on, which I think was the Walmart or something along those lines.
It was the mall.
Yeah, the mall.
Yep.
And they covered it up with like some with a tarp, and got the military in there and stuff, and they're calling it a new Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And the whole PTA meeting is to protest this new Taco Bell, even though it's like blatantly obvious it's an alien ship. Everybody
Right.
just still thinks it's a Taco Bell.
Yeah, and are outraged about a Taco Bell without, do they at least have enchiritos? Or is it like, and then one of the citizens is like, is this going to be a Taco Bell or a Taco Bell KFC combo?
So in order to complete this mission, you have to sneak on the site of the new Taco Bell and steal a recording to prove that it's not going to be a Taco Bell, but it's actually an alien ship. And this is where Randy teaches you the sneaky squeaker.
Yes, you can get inside, and that's
Yeah.
kind of like the little Metal Gear Solid stealth portion.
Yeah, you throw it at the guards there, and they walk off to the side, and then you climb the building, and then you can sneak in through the top. And it's not a huge part of the game. It's actually fairly quick, but it is fun.
Yeah,
I
I
left
thought
the
that was a
first
fun
time
part.
without grabbing the tape recorder by mistake.
Oh my gosh. It was like, and it's funny because they have like a little cut scene where the guy's like, all right, meeting adjourned. We'll come back for this tape recorder after a set amount of time. And then they all leave. Lets you go in and grab it.
Fuck, I love that. All right, so you return that to Randy. He gets you that picture. You now got the goth kids on your side, and then you learn that the stick of truth had been stolen. And Cartman is blaming Kyle for it and saying Kyle hid it in his desk at school. So this is where you actually start picking sides.
Yes.
And when you go to the school, you go with the entire KKK there. And first thing you have to do is you either fight Butters or you fight Stan. And who did you fight?
Did you say you fight Butters or Stan? I think I fought Stan.
Yeah, I fought Butters. This is where I first used Stan. That's right.
Okay. Yeah, I stuck with Butters.
Yeah, and this doesn't have a huge effect, but it's kind of you picking a side, either Kyle's side or Cartman's side.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go through this again, and this is you get Princess Kenny here too.
Yes.
And this is where you have to use Princess Kenny to flash her old tig old biddies there to distract some of the bad guys to open up some of the way further into the school. So
yeah, that's
yeah, that was
so funny.
That was my first instance of seeing Kenny take her top off.
Yeah, it's just like Kenny's little boy nipples, and then it's like, oh, boobies. And then they'll usually like walk into some sort of trap and get knocked
of
out.
course.
Yeah.
So you go through the school, you fight your way through it, and then you end up in the classroom, and then you have a choice to make again. You either fight Kyle or you fight Cartman. And I went with Cartman, fighting him because, I'm not a big Cartman fan. He's a dick.
I fought Kyle. I stuck with Cartman.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I thought, like, you know what? I made a conscious decision. And we talked about before how hard it is for me to pick, evil in a video. I'm a pretty naturally nice guy, so really struggle to pick the evil route. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stick with Cartman this time.
If it works, it works. And it worked out for us because, we both fought different people.
Yes, we did. The Kyle battle was pretty tough. He's a tough cookie.
Oh, yeah. Cartman wasn't too bad. He did a few things there that kind of threw me for a loop, but in the end, I just beat the crap out of him with Stan.
When you end up beating Cartman, does he cry?
I don't remember because it goes right into the cutscene right after.
Oh shoot, because like that would be something that I would want to fight Cartman for, because you know how like sometimes
where
you slap him or punch him and then he cries.
And just like he talks big there and he's like, I'm gonna kick your ass, Cal.
Yeah.
And then Kyle just like punches him in the face like,
Yeah.
Oh, some of the best TV out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nothing changes out of the result of this fight because it goes into a cutscene and you check the desk, or they get the Goths to check the desk.
Yes.
And they open it up and it's not there, but there's a note. It's not a note. Sorry. They notice it's actually Clyde's desk. So they go to Clyde's locker and open it up, and there's a laptop with the video of Clyde, who has taken the stick to his fortress, revealing Clyde to be the big bad boss who now controls the universe. And the first thing he does is take the leadership power away from Kyle and Cartman.
Yes, Clyde becomes the big bad. Didn't they make a joke where you get into the classroom and you check the desk and it's not there, but it's like, we can't keep anything in these desks. Why would we do this?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like
desks
the standard,
are just those cheap ones.
Yeah, the standard school desks with just like a desktop, but not anything, not any.
And if you think back to the show, they are, right? Like,
yeah, there's nothing in those desks.
I guess if you're very keen on the South Park trivia there, you would have known that before you showed up.
Yeah, I just love how they joked on it by the time you get to it, it's like, well, that was dumb.
Yeah. No, that was great. Like just because they notice that you can't put anything inside of it, and then this is Clyde's desk. That's why they check his locker.
Mm-hmm.
Knew it was something like that. Obviously, I skimped on the notes on this one. But after all is said and done, you go back home again because it's night 2, and this is part of probably my favorite part of the game.
Yeah,
if not a little gross.
Yeah,
yeah,
can it be both.
Yeah, pretty much. So when you get woken up because you hear the Underpants Gnomes singing their song.
Yep.
So of course you get into a fight with them, and you're giant, they're small. You wipe the floor with them. So the Underpants Gnomes, not wizard, Shaban comes and shrinks you down.
Yes.
And you got to go through the walls and chase them so that you can, get back to your normal size, and hilarity ensues.
I thought the battle where you're fighting the Underpants Gnomes and you're still big is super funny because it's obviously really easy, but they're just like, oh fuck, he's still huge.
But yeah, the wall was actually a good puzzle too.
Yeah, I liked that. You had to basically like, there are rats in there that can screw you up a little bit, and then
but you can kill most of them, if not all of them, before you get to them.
Yeah, and actually, right when I got into the wall, I think I walked into a mousetrap and died right away.
Yeah, I did that too, and then you start the game like, what the fuck, and then you realize you could actually walk around it.
Yes, yeah, there's a little bit of depth to it.
Yeah, so after climbing the wall, actually about halfway up the wall, your parents start talking about you, and what do they do, Sam?
Oh, it's
I'm gonna make you explain it.
They start to get a little intimate while they're after they've finished talking about whatever problems that you're having.
Because we didn't really get into that, but you have a special ability that they've hinted at but haven't actually explained up to this point.
Yeah, and that's why you're moving around so much, I think.
Yes,
is that you're going from place to place to start fresh, basically.
Yeah, everywhere. And get away from whatever this problem is, which we'll spoil at the end of this plot walkthrough. But yeah, so you see your parents gently making love.
Yeah, gently. Sure.
Gently.
Yeah. So
Doggy style.
yeah, while you're walking, I think you're on the top of a dresser across from their bed, and it's hilarious because you can see there's like so much depth to it where, gosh, I heard this the other day, whatever they call that, where it's like, parallax, like shifting or
Parallax air.
whatever. Yes. You can see like they're moving and it looks like there's a lot of depth to it, but they're like, a little bit blurred out in the background, clearly like railing each other in the background while you're walking across the top of the dresser and fighting little gnomes and stuff.
Yeah, completely emotionless to the fact that you're watching your parents just get it on.
Yeah. The character has no facial expression whatsoever. So
Yeah. So eventually you catch up to the shaman and you have to battle him, and you battle him on the bed underneath your parents
yeah.
as they go at it. And the whole fight, the whole time you got tits and balls flashing in the screen as you're fighting.
Yes.
And there's a quick time event where he's like, ah, shit, look out. And then your dad's testicles come down and slam on the ground. And if you don't hit the button at the right time, you get slapped by a set of balls.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there'll be like a boob or, just everything's flopping around and you have to try to dodge it.
I spent the whole time in that battle just laughing my ass
I was
off.
laughing. Yeah. I was just giggling the entire
so
time.
absurd that it was just perfect. I don't know how it enhanced the battle, but it just made it so much better.
Yeah, it was great. Us talking about it doesn't do it justice. Everyone play this game and get to this
seriously,
point. You'll be dying laughing.
Yeah, just don't play it with your kids in the room.
No, please don't.
We're not responsible if you do.
No.
So after you beat the shaman, you get the power to shrink yourself at will, which becomes another handy power that unlocks more of the world for you to explore.
Yeah.
But you wake up on day 3. We're on, day 3 now, and this is where you go and talk to the elves, where everybody's together and they decide they have to make an alliance. So the first mission, and actually pretty much the whole mission of this day, is to recruit the girls, and everything is based around recruiting the girls.
The first mission was a little long, kind of drew on a little bit long, but there's some funny aspects to it that I thought.
Yeah, I didn't find it too bad though. I mean, the first one is talk to Annie Nelson, who's out front of the city hall there, and she brings you to the girls. And then the first one you have to do is pretend to be Bebe's boyfriend so that you can confront Monica.
Yeah, the backstabbing
shit about her. Yeah,
yeah, she's a backstabbing bitch. Does everyone agree? Sparkle.
And the best part about this is every time they confront somebody like Monica, and then you're back in the girls' meeting there, that character is in there and is like, "We forgive you," and like, "Yay, Sparkle!"
Yeah, they do that classic thing where they're talking shit on her, and then they pan out, and she's standing right there, and she's like, "Yeah, it's okay. I was being a real bitch."
And they're all friends again.
Yeah.
Fuck. I don't know real women, but this seems like them.
Sure.
Hashtag my name is Sam. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So the next one is actually another great part of the game. And that's where there's rumors that I can't remember who got an abortion. So they need you to get a makeover.
Yes.
And then go to the abortion clinic, ask for an abortion, to find the records to see if it's actually true or not, and bring the records back to the girls.
Yeah.
And this one, it's a little long, but man, is it worth it.
Yeah, this is one where it's like, if you were shocked by just, like watching your character's parents have sex or any of the other things that happened previously, like this is where it's going to take a turn and get the shock.
This is the one that's going to get the Christian groups all up in arms. But yeah, you go in and you're getting, the abortion there, and the government breaks in because there is rumors of something going on there. Again, it's slipping my mind what it was, but it's not important other than to move the story forward. So, of course, you have to walk out, and you run into your favorite guy, Randy Marsh, again.
Yeah.
So Randy's in the file room. You get the file there, and Randy takes off, and then you have to go find him. You end up finding him in one of the. Before that, yeah, I guess I should say that to get into that back room. So going back a little bit here. So as you're getting your abortion, the doctor leaves. You have to get doctor's outfit, which is basically scrubs with a mask, which gets you into the file room, which is where you meet Randy. Randy takes off. You're still a doctor. You end up in another room, and Randy's on the table as the government agents walk in, and you have to perform an abortion on Randy.
Yeah, basically they're trying to call your bluff and saying like, "Oh, so you're a doctor and this is your patient, so go ahead and do the abortion."
Yeah, and this part's like a couple of quick time events, and I got stuck here for a bit because I did the dumbest thing.
I did too. I kept sucking
one of
Randy's balls up into the vacuum.
Oh, you did that? No, mine was before that. When you have to spin the stick, you have to do it counterclockwise. I kept doing it clockwise, and I started to get pissed off. Like, what the fuck's it not working? So I'm looking up a walkthrough and all this stuff, and everybody's like, it should take 2 seconds. That's when you're trying to spread them open, right?
Yeah, you're trying to like dilate his butthole, basically. But like, what happens when you? Because I didn't fail that part. What happens when you fail that part?
Oh, what happens is you go too far, and he just bleeds all over you, and then the government agents just shoot you, and then you have to restart.
Because I kept like failing on the I wasn't quick enough switching the vacuum a couple times. Like sucks his ball into the vacuum.
I failed that one once. Yeah. Sucked the testicle right out.
Oh, that's so gross, but it's so funny.
So after giving Randy the abortion, the government agents, I think they're distracted by the giant baby. Abortion.
Yeah, because I think at some point the green goo from the aliens comes into contact with these fetuses, which turns them into
Nazi zombies.
Yes, I was gonna take a deep breath before I said Nazi zombie fetuses.
Well, that's what they turn them into here. I was going to go back and say, it's at the the Taco Bell site that you learn about the Nazi zombies.
Yes, yeah, we did forget that. It's just as offensive as possible.
Oh yeah, and they yell stuff in German as well. It sounds like it's taken from an old World War II recording.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's odd, but it's funny. It's fine.
Oh, you take it all in good stride, right?
Yes, there's definitely. I think there's weapons or buffs. I think that are in your doctor scrubs that make you strong against the fetuses. And there are certain weapons, I think, that you get kind of in that area that are also do extra damage against the fetuses.
Yeah. And the fetuses only last this part of the game. The Nazi zombie goo will affect either people or animals later on in the game.
Yeah.
But so you fight a baby and you work your way out of the abortion clinic, and you bring the file back to the girls. But the file, she's en français.
Right.
So now you have to take the file to the greatest place in the entirety of the world, Canada.
I love this part.
Of course, Canada is so low res because we're so far behind the United States that we're basically a Nintendo game.
Yeah, it's all 8-bit, and then it just plays "Oh Canada" and a chiptune, 8-bit.
Yeah, just over and over and over again. It was hard for me to play this part as a former military guy. I kept standing up every time it restarted.
Oh shoot, yeah.
So in first place he goes to Ottawa, and you talk to the Prince of Canada, who tells you he's not going to release the Minister of Montreal from the cave in Quebec. And his wife, the princess, tells you need to go talk to Winnipeg to talk to the Earl. So you head to Winnipeg, you talk to the Earl, who says he won't help you unless you kill the dire bears. And everything in Canada is a dire something.
Yeah. I just like how he's like, have you ever heard of dire wolves? They're like wolves. But dire.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. No,
wolves, but dire.
Yeah. So you can actually get a couple of good levels here just fighting these things. And they're not hard fights either, which is nice.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
think I
you
did.
fight some wolves, some snakes. There's a spider you can fight, and then the bears.
Yes. Yeah, and it's they were really susceptible to my fire power, I think, as a mage. So I would just pick the middle one, and then I would, as you upgraded your magic, I could do damage to ones on either side, and I would just hit the middle one and pretty much take care of them quick, and they were worth a lot of experience.
Just light them up. I just had Kyle hit him with arrows
Yeah, that too.
over and over and over. So you kill the dire bears. The earl agrees to talk to you, but then you have to go to the Bishop of Banff, and then you have a choice to either kill him, which is a fight, or spare him. And which one did you choose, Sam?
I killed him.
Did you? I spared
Yeah.
him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
This was another conscious decision of me trying to be like the evil guy.
but like it has no real effect. It's just if you
No.
spare him, you basically what do you get? You get something.
Does he open that treasure room that's in the?
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, he opens the treasure room.
Okay, because I couldn't get that treasure box.
That's
I
because
killed
you're a
him.
murderous pig dog.
Right.
Neck. So after you do that, you head off to talk to the Duke of Vancouver, and this is where you learn the spell to free the Minister of Montreal from the cave, and that is the Nagasaki from Terrence and Phillip.
Yes.
And did it take you any amount of time to figure out how to get Terrence and Phillip to talk to you?
No, I think I just went straight there, and then the only thing that was confusing is there's like a little dock, and then when you walk up to it, your boat goes across. But as soon
Yeah.
as I figured that out, you could talk to them down in the corner. I think I remembered that from last time, though.
Well, you have to use all three farts in succession on them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
that was pretty easy. They hint that in the dialogue.
Yeah, I knew that, but I kept trying to fart on them, and I kept missing, so it was just starting to get frustrating for me. And then finally, I hit all three. But yeah, once you do that, they'll teach you the Nagasaki.
Yeah, the sneaky squeaker is the toughest one to pull off, I think.
Yeah, because you have to hit both of them,
Mm-hmm.
and that one's a little bit hard. But once you get it, you get it there. It's just trial and error until you figure it out. So with the Nagasaki, you go back all the way to the cave in Quebec to free the Minister of Montreal, who translates a document for you. Then you can head back to the good old US of A and bring the records to the girls. Of course, they forgive whoever was the problem girl, because that's the theme of the girls is, this bitch is talking about us, but we forgive you, Sparkle.
Yeah, sunshine, and then she's like right there as they pan out again. It's
I forgive you.
And the best part about the girls is they keep blindfolding you. You keep having to go meet what was her name? Annie Nelson.
Yeah.
You have to go meet Annie in front of City Hall every time, and she blindfolds you and brings you to like the secret hideout of the girls or whatever. And then once you complete the mission, they let you walk out the front door, and you're at the girls' bathroom of the park, which has just been out in the open this entire game. You've probably walked past it a bunch of times.
Yeah, you even tried to open the door and it was locked.
Yeah, it's like they've been in there the whole time.
Yeah.
Which I think is it's in an episode, I believe.
I don't know if they ever showed it was in the park though, but I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, I think they did. I can't remember which one, but
See, I always thought it was at the school, but then again, that's just me projecting what I think onto the show.
Oh, it could be, but it's very funny. Like that whole
hilarious.
sequence is funny.
Yeah, so that finishes everything, and then now that you have the girls and the goths on your side, and you've made the alliance with both the Koopa Keep and the Elves, you got to go attack Clyde's fortress. And you learn that, not Clyde, who's the other guy? Craig has joined them.
Yes.
Yeah, he's betrayed your ass. And the fortress, nothing hard. You fight some zombie cows there. Now, there's a part where you can let Stan and Butters in. I think it's Stan and Butters.
Yeah.
Like they're up on the platforms and then the elevator's slowly rising. I couldn't get this is the part where the flame behind glass that I didn't catch on to right away prevented me from blowing up the wall in time. Did you manage to blow it up before the cows showed up?
No, I didn't. I didn't figure it out in time. I just ended up, but like the cows do this like suicide attack where they just blow up and they
Typical
don't really
cow.
do all that much damage.
No, it wasn't a hard fight.
They're fine. Yeah, it's not too bad. But
Yeah, you beat them there, and then you let Stan in, and they take Craig. But they just basically knock Craig out and tie him up. And you go into the next room, and this is the grossest part of the game.
yeah, but before you get there, I love how you're storming the fortress and all of the work that you've done to recruit all these factions. Like you get the goths and you get the girls and you get the kindergartners who are playing pirates this whole time.
Yeah.
So like as you're storming and climbing the keep and going through all these different rooms and things, you've got like kindergartners helping you out, and you have to help out Stan's little brother, or Kyle's little brother, I'm sorry, at one point. It's well done. It's really well done.
Oh, it is. It's a good epic battle of epic proportions.
Yeah.
And then you open up the gate before you get to the cows there, and you have to use your farts and all that stuff to make it work.
Yeah,
But,
it's a good combination of everything you've learned along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And then after you defeat Craig and his Nazi cows, you go into the back room where you find out that there is a snook. If you remember, the snook was from the episode where it is up Oprah's vajayjay.
Yeah, the snook and the sniz.
Snook and the sniz, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So if you remember that episode, the sniz and the asshole were talking all the time.
Yes.
And at one point, the sniz actually commits suicide.
Yes. And then holds everyone up first, though. It was like...
So there's a snook up the asshole of Mr. Slave.
Yes.
Of course, the only person who can shrink is you.
I love this part. It's so gross, but it's so funny.
Then you do the Lemmy-Winks thing, and you have the Lemmy-Winks frog and the Gilda-fish and all that there.
That's one of my favorite Butters episodes, too, where he sticks Lemmy-Winks up Mr. Slave's ass. Lemmy-Winks, no!
So what you got to do is you got to work your way through the colon of Mr. Slave, and this involves, dodging condoms and using vibrators to excite him into opening up the path.
Yeah, and at one point there's like a one of the friends that you get is a cell phone that's lodged up his ass. You have to like turn it on and answer it. I think it might be Mr. Garrison, and like Mr. Hat is in there.
Mr. Hat is in there. I was about to say that, and it's
and as you climb Mr. Hat, because he's like a ladder, he becomes your friend book friend.
Yeah. Oh man. So you work your way through Mr. Slave, and never in my life did I ever think I'd be talking about crawling through somebody's asshole to get to a nuclear device. But you work your way all the way up to leave his stomach, where you end up finding the snook.
Yes.
And this is where your unique skills you learned previously in the game come in handy.
Yeah, I like the double entendre here is really funny, because like you have to go in and abort the bomb, but aborting the bomb is literally performing an abortion of the bomb.
The exact same procedure you performed on Randy to a T.
And there's like a robot voice going like, ow, ow.
As you're sucking the circuits out.
Yes.
Oh, man. So you do that, which was actually fairly easy because I had lots of practice on Randy. So before I had to take out a robot.
Yes.
After that, you come back outside, Mr. Slave, and that's the end of the colonoscopy there. And then it's time to actually go up and defeat Clyde.
Yes.
And Clyde uses the green goo there to make himself, or not make himself, sorry. He revives Chef and makes him a Nazi.
Yes, a Nazi zombie chef.
So you fight Chef, and they did the same thing they did when they revived Chef in the show, is they used just clips of him from throughout the show there, because Isaac Hayes won't do the voice anymore.
Well, yeah, and he's also passed on.
Did he pass on?
He did, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Probably actually a while ago now, but yeah, he passed away.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, he quit the show because it was okay to make fun of every religion except for Scientology.
That's right. Yeah.
So they brought him back, and they used clips of Isaac Hayes throughout the different seasons of the show, and they killed him off again.
Yeah. I'm gonna kill the children.
Yeah. They did.
It's like the way that they patch it together is so funny.
Oh man, that was great. Again, another great use of South Park humor.
Yes.
So You basically take out Chef, and of course he thanks you for beating him and all that stuff. And then Clyde finally gives up. I don't remember. You don't fight Clyde directly, do you?
No, you don't fight Clyde directly, but I want to mention here, which is really funny, that Clyde wants the green goo because he thinks that it's a new Taco Bell green sauce.
Oh yeah. And they're like, "There's no Taco Bell green sauce," and then they're like, "Yeah, there is," and they start going over it, and
Yeah,
like
they
that
just
becomes the
debate.
important thing.
Yeah, debating whether or not Taco Bell has green sauce.
So after you take the stick of truth back, you get betrayed by Princess Kenny, who steals the stick from you. Also, this is the big reveal of why you move around all the time. Is the government agent shows up and he knows you,
Yes.
and he mentions that you have a unique ability to make Facebook friends faster than anybody in history.
Yeah,
And that by the time you're 5, you already had 3.2 billion Facebook friends or
that's right.
Facebook friend book friends. So hence why it was important for you to make friends throughout the game. Besides giving you the perk and stuff like that, it was just like a little nod of a useless ability.
Yeah, like you've been able to do this whole time because that's been your power all along.
Yeah, you're likable.
Yes.
It's a superpower for some. Like I'm not likable, so
Kenny was a Nazi zombie too, right?
yeah, he drank the stuff. Like he grabbed the vial and he drank
Yes.
it, and he became the Nazi zombie for the final battle.
Yes, Nazi zombie Princess Kenny. That's a
Yeah, and this is the one where you have to go through all your partners one by one, and
Yeah.
eventually a cutscene will take them all out. And it's all stupid injuries too. It's not like they die.
Yes.
They'll use a special attack or a quick time event, and then they'll be like, I hurt my leg, and then they'll limp off to the side.
Yes, and then another one comes in, but that was a really kind of a fun part of this battle was kind of, and it was made it a challenge for me because there were characters that I definitely didn't utilize as much.
Yeah, I
That
saved
got
Jimmy for the last.
Yeah, Jimmy, and then who else didn't I use very much? I didn't use Stan very much, but yeah, it was just interesting that it kind of forces you to use all the characters, even if you didn't use them very much, and you just fight them down to a certain point, and then you get a quick time event for them to unleash this special, and then Kenny revives and someone else comes in to take over for your
That
fallen
kept
companion.
happening too. Is like you beat Kenny and he would just revive.
Right.
So you're exhausting all your power points or your PP and your magic and your attacks and stuff like that, and you just can't kill Kenny. How do you kill Kenny? It's escaping me right now how you actually kill Kenny at the end.
I believe you have to break the cardinal rule of South
that's
Park and the
right.
Stick of Truth.
Yeah, because God, I don't know why I forgot that. Okay, I have it written right here, but
You need to fart on a man's balls.
yes, Cartman gives you is like, I know I told you not to, but you need to fart on his balls. And you jump down, and when you do that, it explodes Kenny.
Yes.
Then the game is over. You've beaten South Park, the Stick of Truth. But
What a game.
God, what a fun final battle.
Yes.
Full of hilarity. Like they didn't just hold back or run out of ideas by the end. It was great.
No, it's just it's like it's balls to the wall the entire time.
Yeah. And it's short too, which is what I love about it. It's like 10 to 12 hours to beat. And that's doing some of the side quests, which we'll get into in a second here.
Yeah, I did end up doing some, but not all the side quests for sure.
Yeah, it's like for me, it was just the right amount of game, and I ended up playing the whole thing in about 4 days worth of playing, which is good because we have other games to get to.
Yes,
But the music in this game, I mean, they mixed the South Park classic music with a bit of like the medieval Skyrim Game of Thrones type music there. How'd you find it?
I loved it. Do you notice like when you're walking outside from building to building, Cartman it's like you can hear Cartman's voice in the music. Whatever he's singing is Cartman's voice.
Yeah.
And then whenever you go into stores or any building inside, you hear just different snippets of like like a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll,
the Pokemon commercial song.
Pokemon commercial. Yeah, there's like any goofy song that you can think of from South Park.
Yeah, it was there, and
Is
sometimes I'd actually stop and just listen to the music for a bit.
Yes.
You listened to the Jennifer Lopez song when Jennifer
Yes.
Lopez was Cartman's hand.
Yeah, I think I would. I went
Mitch
into
Connor.
I went into the post office one time. I heard that like taco, taco, taco.
uh, so any comments on the gameplay? Like, how did you find it? I mean, the farts are funny. The controls I found were good, and there's nothing like overly hard. The quick time events were simple enough.
Yeah, they're simple enough. Sometimes I'd find that I wasn't ready for them, but that's a me problem, not the game's problem.
Yeah, and the same with me. Sometimes they catch me off guard, like I'd get hit in the face with the testicle because I wasn't expecting it.
Right. Yeah, it does things that all like I think quirky. I will call them like quirky RPGs. Like, um, I'd put it in that like Earthbound. Playing a little bit of Mario RPG right now. Does things that are weird that they don't really necessarily explain. It's just kind of folded into the gameplay that you
Yeah,
just have to just press A. All of a sudden, it's like okay,
yeah.
well, I missed
I
it.
found it very clean and simple. There was no learning curve in this game. You know how to attack. You know how to use your ranged attack, magic, all that kind of stuff. It was kind of a breath of fresh air for a game that could have been overly complicated.
Yeah, it's an easy game, that's for sure, and it's good because it's basically like you want it to be fun and interactive, but it also does follow that story arc that's just hilarious. It's great. It's like an extended. You'd almost call this like another South Park movie.
Yeah, pretty much. And God knows I'd never want them to turn it into a movie because the game was just so well done on its own.
No, it's perfect. You
Yeah,
just play it as a
exactly.
game.
One useless part I did find about the game was the summons.
Yeah, I didn't use those.
I used them just to see them, but you can't use them in boss battles, so it pretty much makes them pointless. Like, if I'm going to save up a powerful attack, it's going to be for the boss battle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah. So like you can get Jesus. That's one of the first ones you can get.
Yeah.
You basically find Jesus and he's playing hide and seek in the church, and you can hear
Yeah.
him like you go in there at first and you can hear him like tee. He's just behind the pews.
Yeah, you got to find him twice, and then he becomes your ally.
Yes. And another good one was the City Walk Mongolian Tower was pretty fun. That was like a
Yeah,
fun little side quest.
yeah, and you climb the tower there, and you defeat the Mongolians at the top. And I love the Mongolians are in the restaurant as well there, and he's like, yeah, Mongolians,
Yeah,
in our
and it just
restaurant.
like cuts it cuts to Mongolians in like full armor just eating at the tables.
Yeah, so you get Liu Kim there, and he does his samurai attack with swords and stuff like that. It's pretty funny. And then, of course, after you find Mr. Slave's package, you get Mr. Slave as summon there, and his is the thing where he did to Britney Spears, where he jumped on top of them and then they went up his rear end.
I didn't
So
get him this time, but oh my god.
yeah, and then of course the final one is Mr. Hanky, who you find in the sewer after you find just 3 kids.
I did that one and I really like that quest because Mr. Hanky's wife is like a lush and he's
Yeah, she's
go
fucking
inside, we're
yelling at him,
drunk.
yelling at each other, having a fight.
And his kids are like Simon and I can't remember the girl one, but then there's Cornelius, and one of them has like a nut sticking out of his head, like a little peanut.
Oh man,
His
pretty
kids,
gross.
his kids are so funny. uh, let's
Yeah,
see.
in the sewer as well, there's like 2 quests there. You get the
Yes.
crab people.
Yeah, you can talk to the crab people.
Yeah, and you end up fighting in something for Jimbo down there. And then as well, there's a bunch of homeless people which you have to get rid of for the mayor.
I think I got those, but I think I forgot to go back and talk to the mayor after I did that.
I got 5 out of the 6 of them, and then I
Yeah,
just
there's
kind
one
of
in the sewer. Oh, there's one. There's one in like a U-Haul truck outside of
yeah,
the storage unit.
and there's one just past Kenny's house.
Yeah. Gosh,
And
there
then
was
there's
another
like
one
3 in the
somewhere.
sewers.
There was definitely some stuff. Oh, there was one on the alien ship.
Oh,
So actually, if you don't get him There's some stuff in the game that if you don't get it in the moment, you'll lose it. Like some of the stuff that you can find when you're like in the overnight parts, like the alien ship and the underpants gnomes stuff. Like you can't go
Yeah.
back for some of that stuff.
Life sucks. You'll have to get over it.
Yep.
But it's like any game. If you don't do it at the right time, then well, it's half the fun of exploring. I
Right.
tried to do that a lot in this game, and one of my favorite things to do is find the Chipokemon.
Yes.
Because every time you got one, you got the...
Yeah, some of those are so funny. Like I was so happy when I got I think it's towards the end of the game I got to find Shoe.
Shoe.
One of them is just Shoe.
Oh, okay.
It's just a shoe.
I didn't even actually look at what they were. As soon as I saw them, I just went to get them so I could hear the...
Oh, it's great. Like you can go to the menu and go like you just scroll over to the like little collectibles portion and shows all the stuff that you've gotten. And there's basically indexes of all the items in the game, including all of the different weapons and things that you can collect. But
Oh.
the Chimpokemon is funny because you can actually scroll through and see pictures of them and what they're called and everything.
Oh, maybe I should have done that.
Yeah, it's good for a laugh for sure.
Yeah. The final thing I'm going to bring up for the extras, and my favorite and the one you kind of got a little bit late, was the Man Bear Pig arc.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad I got that late.
Yeah, you go and you find Al Gore, and he's hiding behind a bush just past the movie theater there, and become his friend, and he starts talking about Man Bear Pig.
Yep.
And as soon as you become his friend, he texts or messages you every few seconds until you unfriend him later on in the game. And to unfriend him, you actually have to fight him. So you have to be at the right level to actually fight him and his Secret Service that fight alongside him. And I died the first time and ended up having to go through that message showing up every few seconds for like the next 2 to 3 hours of the game. I did it all the way through to the end of Canada, at least.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think my first playthrough, I did end up fighting Al Gore and unfriending him, but this time around, I think I finished that side quest right before I went to the castle at the end. And so basically Al Gore was just texting me the entire time. I was going through the end game, which isn't so bad, but it was still pretty annoying.
Yeah, well, when you unfriend Al Gore later on, you'll bump into him again, and he's dressed as Man Bear Pig.
Yes.
So you got to fight him one more time, and then that just ends that entire arc.
Yes, but then don't you get Man Bear Pig as a friend and a summon?
I am not a summon, but a friend.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's only the 4 summons in them.
Yeah, that's just funny. Like, of course they would troll the player using Al Gore as like
and it's just like he is in the
annoying...
show there.
Yeah.
I'm super serial.
Super serial. Yeah, just what a game. One other thing I wanted to mention was as you're going along, you can find all kinds of different weird little items that really don't they're not equipable items. It's junk, and it's classified in your inventory as junk, but the stuff that you can pick up is all different things from the show, and they're just funny.
Yeah, and then you just end up selling it so that you can buy equipment and stuff.
Right. It's just like, and it's gross stuff. It's like pubes, like used tampon, like
yeah,
just but all of it has like a little dollar value attached to it, like 5, 10, 15 cents. Some of the more rare ones are worth like $1.25, and you can just sell them as a way to get more money. And your
and when you go to Canada, another thing is you have to use Canadian dollars. So you have to actually exchange money or sell Canadian junk.
Yes. I didn't exchange money. I just sold. I had not sold any junk to that point in the game. And so instead of changing money, I just sold a bunch of stuff in Canada and got Canadian dollars for it.
Oh, that works.
Yeah.
I
there's some good weapons.
I exchanged a few bucks just to buy the weapons. And after that, it was the same thing. It was just the junk I collected through it, I just sold.
Yeah, there's really good weapons and those like little power-up badges in Canada. There's some real good ones.
Yeah, it's definitely good. All right, so is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
No, I think we fully exhausted our... I'm spent, man.
Yeah,
That
definitely
was a
covered
good
this one. I was excited for this one. Like I spent the week writing the notes, and then that intro by Captain Alcatraz there just set me on fire just to do this.
What a great intro.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Captain A.
Absolutely. And we'll have him back again whenever we can.
Yes.
All right, so time to rate the game, Sam. What are you going to rate this game on the Sam scale?
Out of 10, I'm gonna go pretty high. This is like about as close to perfect and as fun of an experience as you can have in a video game, especially being a South Park fan. I'm a little biased, but I'm gonna go like a 9.95. It's
Yeah, you're
incredible.
getting right up there. I'm going to go a 9.5. I'm going to be a little more reasonable, you monster. But yeah, it's nothing really bad about this game, and it's only not hitting a perfect score because I don't want to top out on episode 4. There has to be room to move up, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. But
I suppose so. Yeah, but
it's just a great game.
I guess I'll knock off the 0.5 for my own fuck ups. Let's do that. Like it's its fault that I screwed up.
Yeah, turning it clockwise when you needed to go counterclockwise.
Yeah, exactly. It's all the game's fault. Teach me how to read a digital clock, and that's what you get. All right. So what's coming up next week, Sam?
Next week we got a real special one for my childhood, Ren and Stimpy's Invention for the Sega Genesis. So this is my revenge for Lion King.
Yeah, and this is I was not a Genesis kid, so this will be one of the first Genesis games I actually play outside of Sonic.
Yeah, so I've been playing around with that a little bit and watching a little Ren and Stimpy too to get myself in the mood for that one. It's gonna be a fun one.
I discovered last night when you showed me the episode that the game is based around. Billy West did the voice of Stimpy, and that's the guy who does Fry on Futurama, and you can really hear it.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right, so that wraps up for this episode of Retrotopia. If you want to join in on the conversation, you can find us at X at Retrotopia Pod. It's a Retrotopia Pod. Oh, I'm going to have to cut that out.
Do I hold B to skip the stutter?
The
Retrotopia pen.
Retrotopia Pod. Retrotopia Pod. Retrotopia Pod. I'm like trying to open it up as I do this. Yeah, it's at Retrotopia Pod. Ah, man, somebody took the Retrotopia podcast, I think. Anyways, Retrotopia Pod on X, or you can join our Discord, which the link is down in the description of this podcast. So until next time, this is Brian and Sam signing off. Have yourself a good gaming week.